welcome to Salento with Love. I'm Davide Mengoli, and today I'll take you on to a special journey with my companion, my Lambretta, coming with me. We are in the small town of Giurdignano. Yes, Giurdignano, so much history. We're right at the heel of the boot of Italy. But I'm going to take you on a special journey, and to start this special journey, I'm going to take you into a crypt that takes us back in time. But also, did you know that Giurdignano is the capital of the megalithes in the world? So many monoliths scattered around this beautiful countryside, going back to the Bronze Age. But like I said, let's start the journey with the crypt of San Salvatore. Let's go in. We are in a sacred place, so this is the entrance, or was the original entrance. This crypt goes back to the 8th to the 10th century. So can you imagine, more than 1,500 years ago, or probably earlier, this was dug under the ground. By who? Let's go in. Let's walk in the crypt of San Salvatore. Are you enjoying this video? Well, I'm sure you are, so press the little bell and press the subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next video. So we are inside this extraordinary crypt. What makes it really, really special? Well, first of all, 3 naves. Yes, the idea when this was built was to make it look exactly like a church. People that were coming in here probably never saw a church. And so the Byzantine monks that built this in the 8th to the 9th century, they dug underground. This is the solid rock that can be found. So dug underground, they never brought in any blocks. They carved it, and they created what looked like a church. Each individual ceiling in each section of the naves is completely different, created with a different format, really giving the idea when you look up that you are looking at a church. And the Greek cross, which appears in 3 different parts of this crypt. Now, that's what makes it really, really special. Now, in this particular area, people were not Christian. So when the Byzantine monks were running away from the Ottoman Empire and coming over here to Puglia, maybe Sicily, maybe other parts of Italy, they were actually bringing their faith with them. And they were actually converting people. So it was very important for them to build these kind of environments. But at the same time, in that time, they were under attack. The Ottoman Empire was also coming over here, and he was attacking them. And for that reason, they had to be underground. A lot of the frescoes here, they're only halfway, and the rest has been lost because this place, together with a lot of other places, an abundance of them in Salento, have been lost because people were using them as stables, people were using them as storage, so you can imagine water coming in and all other type of things deteriorating what was actually there in the first place. But isn't it incredible that a lot of it has been saved and preserved today? Here we see San Cosimo and Damiano. These are the 2 Byzantine monks that came over from the Middle East and really made part of our culture in Catholicism. In the Orthodox Church, the followers cannot come in contact with the bishop. So this would have been a gate here. And the fact of having Cosimo and Damiano there, they were actually doctors. So maybe they've had some medicines here. Probably they would have had some books here. And this would have been a gate to life. Now, the other area, we have an affresco of the Madonna. Just there. Now, how do you know that these frescoes are Byzantine? Well, it's interesting because the white dots that you see in majority of the frescoes, it was a specific technique that they were using in painting those frescoes in the 8th, 9th, and 10th century. Now, we have the Madonna here, and the opening was right at the back there. It wasn't really the stairs that we came in, so this was open, and they are saying that when the light was coming in at a certain time of the day, the light would hit the eyes of the Madonna and they would come alive. I find that to be amazing from a structural, from an architectural point of view. It was very important back in them days to find ways and angles to bring things to life. It was just amazing, not just the architecture, but even from a painting point of view, how they managed through their icons to impress people. So it was a very powerful way, really. The architecture, the environment. You can imagine probably some incense burning out of here, probably the smell in this space, the Madonna looking, these characters looking, these people looking. Who are they? The three bishops, Cosimo and Damiano over there, and other people looking over here. So you can imagine the followers coming in, listening to the preaching in this environment. It must have been magical, as well as the sound as well, that will propagate through the stone and the environment that it created underground. I will miss it. It's time to leave the Crypt of San Salvatore. Just a little detail probably before I leave. Why is it called San Salvatore? Well, no one really knows, because the saint protector of Giurdignano is San Rocco. The church above is dedicated to someone else. So maybe they just thought that Salvatore was a good name, and is not referenced to any of the saints that are actually found in this crypt. Well, what did you think of it? This is not over. Giurdignano has a lot of surprises, so let's go and learn a little more about the menhir, these big monolithical pieces that can be found scattered around here in the area. Giurdignano has been an amazing discovery. It's one of those pearls that you can find here in the land of Salento. But also there is another element of history in Giurdignano, which unfortunately we didn't cover in this video. Click in the link above and check out the Abbazia delle Cento Porte, one of those history pieces that deserves your attention. And this is one of the first ones that we come across, menhir. Now it comes from a word that it means long stone. Well, so many other theories about this menhir, but when you think about this, you may think about Stonehenge. Everybody, the whole world knows about Stonehenge, this group of long stones that everybody has come up over the decades with different theories. Well, probably very religious. People used to group around it. Remember, this wasn't a Christian area, it was very pagan. It actually goes back to the Bronze era. Probably an area where they would come and congregate and celebrate the harvesting. Right at the top, a little concave area. Probably they put oils in it and burning it. Also the shape, narrow on one side, a little fatter on the other. The position pointing north. So the usage over the centuries may have changed, and the reason why they were built may have been very different. It could have been a meridian, it could have been a clock, it could have been a place for congregating. But when Christianism came in, the idea was taking them all out. They saw them as something phallic, something that really should have been taken down. But you can imagine the local community be attached to this. We are talking about hundreds of years ago. So at the moment in this little area, 17 of them are still standing and can be found. We're going to see a few today. And then while you're just walking, you find this beautiful pink pepper, which is fantastic to use in many recipes. Well, if you're ever in Giurdignano this time of the year, we're in October, you know where to collect the pink, delicious. So now we are outside another menhir, which is San Paolo. Now it's clear that what happens there in this little crypt with St. Paul's there and the Madonna happened a lot later. Probably this was a way of saving the menhir. And one way of saving it was to bring something Christian or a Christian element. So what we have here, it's an icon of St. Paul's. But in the background, we also see a spider web, because St. Paul's is the protector of any person that gets bitten by a spider or a snake. So he's the protector. But the spider here is probably very well connected to the tarantate, which probably in the link above, Ludovica, yes, you can put a video about Galatina. The tarantate on the 30th of June, on the 29th of June, they will be collected from all over the region and taken to Galatina, where they would drink from the well. But also the tarantate from this region or from this little area were taken here to this little crypt. So isn't it incredible, the merge of the sacred with the profane. But really the question is, what's sacred and what is profane? Because for those people that was sacred already, and for us today, that's sacred now. So it's really fantastic to think about the merge of civilizations and beliefs and heritage, how it all comes together. And today we really have this element combined together. So if you're here in Giurdignano, make a little stop at the Crypt of St. Paul's.
Allora, qui siamo arrivati invece al Menhir Vicinanze 1. Questo è uno dei menhir forse più alti che esiste sul nostro territorio ed è all'incirca sui 3 metri. E anche questo viene cristianizzato però scolpendo sulla roccia una croce. Al di sotto di questo menhir ci sono delle buche che venivano utilizzate come granai, cioè anche questo. Il menhir viene visto anche un po' come simbolo fallico, simbolo della fertilità, per cui qui il contadino, no, oltre a fare quel che si dice i suoi riti, appoggiava le sue cose, tipo il grano, per proteggerlo da ruberie o da intemperie. Si diceva che al di sotto dei menhir ci fosse un tesoro. Per poter prendere questo tesoro però un contadino gli venne detto tu hai 2 figli, no? Li devi legare al menhir. Dove si piega il menhir e cade sotto trovi. Però devi rinunciare a un figlio perché quello che viene sotto il menhir viene schiacciato. E quindi si dice che mette i 2 figli, nel momento in cui vede che si inclina il menhir, ci ripensa e toglie i figli e quindi il tesoro rimane là sotto.
E da qui invece siamo vicini al frantoio?
Sì, siamo a 200 metri dal frantoio.
Buono?
Bisognerebbe trovare il modo di far scendere un disabile sia in cripta che in frantoio.
The Mayor of Giurdignano ci ha dato l'opportunità di entrare in posti che magari sono un po' più difficili, ma che sono veramente una cornice ad un Salento meraviglioso, vero?
Giurdignano è il giardino megalitico d'Italia, uno dei più grandi d'Europa, quindi ci pregiamo di avere questo tesoro immenso, e il diamante Giurdignano è entrato a far parte dell'Associazione Nazionale Città del Tartufo, e questo non fa altro che arricchire e completare, perché abbiamo dato una connotazione ulteriore al paese.
Grazie.
Grazie.
And now we've also arrived at another piece of history, a frantoio ipogeo. That what it means is a place where they crush the olives underground, ipogeo, under the ground, under the earth. Now you can't see it. It was very important back in them days to do things underground for the production of the olive oil that was using for burning. It was important because of the moisture and the temperature, but mainly it was important to protect themselves from the attacks from the Turkish. And that was like liquid gold. So doing them underground, it was like being in an invisible place. Where is it? We are walking, we are standing right over it. So let's go and explore the Frantoio Ipogeo here at Giurdignano. Thanks to Grazia, we've got access to that as well. Mind the steps. So we come across these cells as we're going down the stairs. We'll explain what they are, but they're very close to the surface. But just like the crypt, it's totally dug in the rock. So we heard it from Grazia, who has explained extremely well what happened in these oil mills. First of all, I think on my channel, if this is the first time you're watching this video, you'll learn quite a lot from what we're going to be saying in the next couple of minutes. But otherwise, you can watch some other videos where I talk about the production of olive oil. This was a key factor for the economy of the area. But what was interesting really, that the techniques were actually brought in by the Byzantine monks. And we've actually learned that this was probably the epicenter where they came. So what was happening here? Well, first of all, let me just tell you that it wasn't an easy job, because when they were contracted to work down here and in this particular oil mill, about 40 people worked underground. They would spend 6 months of their life here in the dark. They couldn't go outside, and this was actually one of the elements that was stipulated. Now, the olives will get dropped in from some of the shoots that we can see up and around the outside of the building, hidden away back in them days, they would drop into these cells that are scattered around. They would be left in there for a period of time to macerate, which is completely different from the production of using consumption oil for food purposes. Yes, this oil was produced to burn and produce light. That's why it's called olio lampante. The olives were taken, put onto this massive area, and as you can see, this incredible stone. And this stone was brought in, it wasn't dug here because this is limestone, it's very soft. So that stone there and that stone there was brought in, a completely different type of rock. And donkeys will do a 4-hour shift going around. Now you can still see it. You can still see the feet of the animals. And can you imagine, for 4 hours, they would just go around. They would be blindfolded because otherwise they would go crazy. So the animal would be blindfolded 4 hours, have a rest for 4 hours, come back and go round and round. The paste that was produced will then go into these big presses. It will get pressed. The oil will flow into these containers here and they're scattered around, filled with water, and oil would float. And only one person, called the Nakiro, was the only one in charge of the whole operation, was responsible for scooping out the olive oil. Isn't it incredible? Over here we have Starbucks. Yes, you could come here, have a cappuccino, latte. Wasn't it incredible? 40 people working here. They also had to create an area where they could get together. They could just have something to eat. They can have maybe some dried bread with some olive oil. And this was the area. These little niches that we see, probably they had lights. They probably had a little saint in there. They probably had an icon in there. But this is amazing. They would spend 6 months down here, no light, no contact with the family. And at the end of it, they would get paid in majority of the cases with olive oil, which they could sell and could make a good profit. So the pay was extremely high. Can I take your order, please?
Yes, a frappuccino, please.
We don't do frappuccino, we only do frapp oils here. Totally dug in the rocks. Look, no columns, self-sustained. Isn't it amazing? No columns. The whole thing is literally dug underground. We're only probably about 10 feet from the surface. Ma queste erano dove dormivano?
Sì, alcuni erano per dormire, altri no.
Now they all have a hole at the top and they all have a little hole at the bottom connected. These cells were connected to the open ground, and this is where maybe they will move a secret stone and they will drop the olives. The olives will be left in there to macerate, what we've said earlier. Maybe a little bit of fluid will come out of there. And look at this little step, making it very comfortable for somebody to jump in there and scoop the olives out. So we're just about to say goodbye. Every time I step into these areas and I've got to say goodbye, I must say my heart stopped for a second. It's an opportunity really to connect to our past, but also an opportunity to see our architecture has developed and how much we have learned. So I really hope that future generations, our youngsters really can connect and see how this could be a catalyst to their future. We needed the rich past in order to create our beautiful future. So this has been a privilege for me today to explore the crypt, to learn about the Menhir, to see this incredible frantoio ipogeo and wherever it's going to come next. So if you are in Giurdignano or if you are traveling in the area, just please put it in your map. Just make sure that you visit some of these places and you breathe in the energy that our ancestors have left for us. Oh, are you still there? That means that you are enjoying our videos. Thank you very much for following the channel. Did you know that every Friday we issue a video called Thank God It's Friday, and you can see it if you join our membership? Do that, and I'll see you every Friday. Samson. Well, these are called the twin menhirs. I don't know, I just find it amazing to see concrete cement, but at least they've survived to tell us a story. the centro storico of Giurdignano. Inside this courtyard as well, there is another menhir. Some of them have ended up inside people's houses or courtyards, and inside here there is another one that she's pointing out. That's another menhir. It's also a sign of respect that hundreds of years later, the local people that have left them, obviously they don't believe in those rituals anymore, but it's interesting how that connection's still there. So if you come to Giurdignano, make sure that you spend the time exploring the little streets, and you may find some beautiful things. Grazie, grazie. So grazie has been part of our journey, eh? Hai seguito nel nostro viaggio.
Vi ho accompagnato.
Grazie.
Ciao Marta.
Ciao.
Grazie per...
Buona continuazione con loro.
Grazie.
Grazie. So now we are entering the Palazzo Baronale, which is just off the main square. Church over there, the obelisk over there, the bell tower over there, everything is here. So Giurdignano, 1,700 people, has a square, has a bar. We had a fantastic coffee this morning, and he has a Palazzo Baronale with a fantastic exhibition. Let's go in and check it out. So through this little tour, we're not going to concentrate on the exhibition, but mainly on the Palazzo. It may have gone through many changes, 16th, 17th century, but really with what we've seen around, maybe some areas of it much earlier than that. The presence of olive oil making, wine making is all present in this building, and all of that with a frame of an incredible architecture that we can benefit from it today. These frescoes are wonderful, obviously revisited much earlier, or much later, I would say. Maybe end of the 1800s, beginning of the 19th century, when this one became a private residence, but also known as the Palazzo Baronale. Just before we leave the church, this is the patron of the city of Giurdignano, San And after this extraordinary tour and visiting the church and ask the blessing, I think it's time to go and try some local food at a very special place. Come with me. And we have arrived. Let's go for lunch. So we have arrived. This is a very rare place. It's called Casa Borgia. And do you know, this is a place where truffle, yes, in Salento, truffle gets created, picked up and transformed, and also an amazing restaurant. So put it on your map, but let's go and meet Giuliano at Casa Borgia. And this is Giuliano, the founder of Casa Borgia. So we're going to see the entire process, where the tartufaglia is, where the truffle gets collected, how it gets then worked, and then the restaurant as well. Andiamo? Andiamo. So we are going where the truffle can be found, but amazing, Giuliano, the story. 25 years ago, father is a police, now retired, and 27 years ago we had immigrants coming over. So the coastlines of Salento was constantly monitored. One morning they stopped these people thinking that they were just immigrants. They were dressed as hunters, but they actually said that they were truffle searchers and they were here in Salento, and they didn't believe them. But then when they searched them, yes, they had truffle. Well, 27 years ago, that's when he was finally discovered that truffle searchers from Umbria and other areas were traveling here for searching for this very fine truffle that can be found here. Did you know that? Well, I didn't know that. Isn't it incredible? This is a very special find here in Salento. So Giuliano, we've done this amazing tour of the company. Tempo di mangiare? Let's introduce us to the chef.
Prego.
Chef
Buongiorno, è Daniele.
Daniele.
Daniele, piacere.
Questo è il tuo mondo. This is the kingdom of the chef, and for anyone following me, you know, I love cooking. So today I'm just going to watch, but probably learn.
Andremo a fare un semplice tagliolino con i funghi porcini e tartufo.
Wow. A little trick.
Questo è del gin.
Gin?
È gin.
That's gin.
Io i piatti li pulisco.
Normally I
sempre
drink
con
gin.
Si utilizza un distillato del genere perché innanzitutto toglie tutti gli aloni dai piatti.
I'll make sure that I use a little gin for cleaning the plates, not too much. No.
Ragazzi, buon appetito.
Hey chef, grazie.
Grazie a te, veramente.
What an experience to have a chef like Daniele.
Grazie.
Tagliolino e porcini with tartufo from
Uncinato Salento.
Salento. Unbelievable.
Enjoy.
Grazie chef.
Grazie a voi.
Hey Giuliano, incredibile. Anche la birra al tartufo.
Birra al tartufo.
Salute.
La tua.
Wow, even the beer is a truffle beer made here. And this tagliolino with porcini and tartufo from Salento. What an amazing way of finishing the video here of Giurdignano. Definitely you need to put it on the map. Giurdignano needs to be on your map, and Borgia House needs to be on your map. Enjoy it. Thanks very much for following the channel. Do the usual thing, subscribe, press the little bell, and the most important thing, he doesn't know, I do, stay safe wherever you are.